Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Nikitinaknits. My name is Evgeniya, and in this video I want to speak about new knitting patterns that were released in September of 2025. So as usually, these type of videos are quite selfish because every single pattern that I'm speaking about in such videos I would knit into my own wardrobe. And I don't release these new pattern updates every single month because not every month I'm so excited. But this month, September, I cannot wait to record this video, even though now it's just middle of September and I already have a list of patterns that I would just desperately knit into my wardrobe. So grab your knitting, grab your favorite drink, in my case is some hot cacao with coconut cream, and let's dive into September knitting patterns. So immediately I want to start speaking about Valerie Blouse by Petite. This is the pattern that was released I think yesterday or today, and I was waiting for it to be released to sit down and record this video. So I'm so excited. It is such a beautiful blouse. And of course, I would love to compare this design to Sumi Sweater that has also a DK version and an Aran weight version. So in my case, in my opinion, I think they're different. And I was quite attracted to Sumi Sweater when it was released, the first version and the second one. And I actually wanted to knit that one day, especially the DK version. I really liked it. But when Valerie Blouse was released, I was even more attracted because it has boat neck and not a slightly rounded neck, and it doesn't have a drop shoulder. So instead, it just has a contiguous seam that goes along your armhole that is quite a fitted design. And I think it's even created with a negative ease. So they're quite different. And if I ask myself which one I prefer more, to be honest, I really don't know what to say because Valerie Blouse is actually a blouse. It's very lightweight, it's knitted with mohair, and it has a very tight gauge of 23 stitches per 10 centimeters, comparing to Sumi Sweater that has 18 stitches per 10 centimeters of a DK version. So I would need both, to be honest, if I ever want to have two diagonal openings in my wardrobe. But right now I'm so excited about Valerie Blouse, and I'm actually thinking if I should cast it on soon because I have so much mohair in my stash that actually is waiting for me and I would love to knit it up. So Valerie Blouse is a very elegant design that is very fitted, that has a negative ease, meaning it has to be a bit smaller than your actual bust circumference. And I'm a bit concerned about this opening because it shows a little bit of your body. So if we see at Meta's version, she's wearing some top underneath. It's a body color top, so it's beige or light beige color. In my case, I would better pick the tank top with the very thin stripes that matches either my body color or the color of the blouse. And the button bands, I would choose also that match the color of the blouse. So there's not so much going on and the eye is not losing attention trying to focus on details, because in Petite's version the top is the body color top, then the buttons are like silver color and the blouse is actually brown. So for me it's a bit too much. It's very beautiful transitional piece. I think it's perfect for September, and especially in the regions like Spain or the south of Europe where it's a little bit cool but it's too hot and you want to open it up a little bit. If you're too hot, then it becomes cold at 5 minutes and you want to close it, and it shouldn't take so much time because it doesn't have any neckline. It's quite a fitted garment, and the arms and the sleeves are also quite tight on the arms. So right now let's speak about the yarn and then the construction. The yarn is 2 strands of silk mohair that has a meterage of 212 or 210 meters per 25 grams. In this case it's knitted with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair, which actually I haven't tried yet, even though it's a very popular yarn. However, I don't think I would go for Knitting for Olive option because my friend have knitted a cardigan with this yarn and I did feel it a little bit pokey or scratchy towards my skin. I know it's quite a soft mohair for most of the people, but I have a very sensitive skin, and in this case I would go either with my favorite Pasquale mohair, or I have a hand-dyed mohair from Robledal de la Santa, from a Spanish hand-dyed brand. Another very soft option could be Lang Mohair 21, but it's a very thin mohair, very thin, like 375 meters per 25 grams. And if I were to go with that option, I would use 3 strands together. The way you knit it is you start top down, you do some short rows to create some neck depth. After that, you keep on knitting flat back and forth, already increasing for the sleeves and already forming this beautiful diagonal opening with some increases. Then you're splitting for sleeves, leaving stitches on hold for the sleeves, finishing the body to your desired length, and after that picking up stitches again for the sleeves and finishing them up. I don't know if there's any I-cord, I don't think so. It's very simple finishing. completely pain-free, no button band, nothing. So I'm so excited to knit it one day. Very simple project that actually looks complicated. I think if you say that you actually knit it yourself to any other person, a lot of people would be impressed and you would receive a lot of compliments. So very much looking forward to knit it one day. The next one is Sumi Sweater by JJOO Knit, which is a Korean designer, and I can't wait to knit something from her. So this month she released this beautiful raglan sweater. It looks very simple, you know, very casual. How many raglan sweaters were already seen in the knitting community? But when I saw this one, something sparked me in and I thought I want to knit this and I will knit this one day, because this very beautiful, quite wide neckline from 2x2 rib gradually flows into the raglan that consists also of 2x2 rib and features quite distinctive raglan lines as well. After that, we have very beautiful separation of 2 purl rows, then just plain stockinette, and in the end of the sweater we also have some structure, like also 2x2 rib, some purl rows, and overall together it looks interesting with some detail but still very wearable and minimalistic as for me. So another thing that actually attracted my attention is of course the color, like very dusty sky blue color, very beautiful pastel versions of this sweater just, you know, took my heart. If I were to knit this, I have to pick similar colors because it's just beautiful. And also the structure of the yarn is quite lofty, very lightweight, and I feel like I want to touch this sweater and just live through my everyday life, you know. This kind of sweater is going for a walk, going to meet with my friends, also going for groceries, like anything that I would like to do in autumn time or winter time, this sweater would work. Of course, depends on the type of yarn that you pick. But I already have a raglan in my collection just like that works for everything. I spoke about it in my ranking videos where I ranked all of my garments. Check that video out if you haven't. I will be putting the link in the description. And I'm thinking maybe not this year, this type of sweater, but I don't know, I love it. It's so beautiful. Anyways, let's get back to the yarn and then the construction. The yarn is a sport weight yarn, but the gauge is 20 stitches and 30 rows per 10 centimeters. So I think light DK weight or even DK weight could also work for this project. And as you can see, the main feature of this raglan is 2x2 rib. And I think it's very important to pick the yarn that is going to show off very beautifully in 2x2 rib pattern. If I were to knit this, I would really swatch hard before starting this project. And when I look at the knitted garments, both of the designer and of the testers or other sample knitters, I noticed that a lot of times the ribbing is not so consistent. So if you care about very beautiful ribbing, 2x2 ribbing, it would really matter what type of yarn you pick. The recommended yarn from designer is Korean yarn, and I don't have access to it and I wouldn't buy it from Korea to pay for the shipping to Europe. So I would go with my own version, and I think I would go with LAMANA Como plus mohair, or if not the mohair, then an alternative to that. And I do have another video on my channel about mohair alternatives, 15 different options. If you're sensitive to mohair or you want to, you know, try different fibers as an additional thread, you can watch that video and get inspired. The link will be also in the description box. I'll be honest, I would go a bit fancy and I would go with Link Cashmere Dreams together with LAMANA Como, because this type of sweater would get a lot of wear in my wardrobe, I know for sure. And I think it would be worth, you know, investing in a very special yarn that I would enjoy every day. Anyways, the construction is knitted top down. I don't know if there's short rows when you cast on for the neck. I don't know if she goes back and forth to create the depth of the neck. I guess so, because most of Korean designers do that, and I do see some depth. The way it sits on her body, it looks just perfect, so I do think she used some short rows. After that, you just keep on knitting the round raglan as we're all used to. You're splitting for sleeves, you're finishing the body, and then you're finishing the sleeves, just like a normal traditional raglan. So very little effort, very interesting outcome, and very wearable piece. I hope to knit it one day very soon. Alright, the next one is a true gem in my roundup. It's Emergent Shades Sweater by Becky Baker, and it speaks so much about autumn to me. And I think depending on the color you're choosing for this project, you can achieve different mood. For winter, of course, it could be cooler tones or red and white tones, and for spring it's all about blooming colors like pink and yellows and so on. So for autumn, of course, we're having some very warm tones, unsaturated greens, beautiful oranges, all in this earthy tones, very down to earth, very warming and cozy. When I speak about it, I feel warmth in my stomach. To be honest, it's so nice, warming up my heart. It is so beautiful, and I feel like designer did put a lot of soul into this pattern. So I've never knit from this designer, but looking at her work, I don't think I'm going to be afraid to knit from her. I think the patterns should be quite clear, and usually the reviews are quite good, so I feel completely free to knit from her. So this sweater is super wearable because it features only 10 to 16 centimeters of positive ease, meaning it could be easily worn under the jacket or a coat, and it also not so tight to your body, so if you sweat, you're not going to, sweat into the sweater. I love this type of sweaters, and the shoulder seam is interesting also because it's not exactly on the top and it's not a drop shoulder, it's somewhere in between, and it's looking quite relaxed and casual as well. So it's very interesting. I like this type of balance, even though you can look at it and say, oh, there's nothing special in this construction, just, normal fitted sweater. But for me, I'm quite picky about the fit and the way it fits my body. So I think this is a beautiful balance between it being free on the body and not being too huge, so I can fit it under my tight coat. So let's take a look at the stitch pattern. We have a very beautiful structured loop stitch pattern. I've never tried this type of stitch pattern, and I think it adds some depth to the look of the sweater and adds, of course, some warmth and some coziness. And I would like to wear something like that because most of my sweaters are just plain stockinette because I'm a true minimalist. But right now I'm kind of switching towards color work and some of the structure. So now about the yarn, another reason why the sweater looks so gorgeous. If we look at the sweater, it has stripes of single color and it has different stripes of a gradient color. That's because there are two yarns that are used in this pattern, which is the fiber core Cumbria and the fiber core Transitions. If I were to knit this, I would like to use these specific yarns. First, because I don't want any surprises in such a complicated project in a way, and I would like also to achieve similar colorway look. And also this sweater could look nice in solid colors, so just would be really striped and quite textured. So you choose what you like. There's a lot of space for creativity and your own fantasy. In my case, as I already said, I would just repeat what designer did. And now I'm ready to speak about the construction because I have some stuff to say about it. So the construction is knit bottom up, but don't be scared because I will explain why it makes sense. First of all, we have a quite complicated stuff going on. We have two colors, we have to constantly switch the yarn, and we have a loop stitch pattern. If we would like a nice fitted sweater and we would like to knit it top down, it would be either impossible or it would be extremely complicated. So this pattern wouldn't be available for beginner knitters or intermediate knitters, or for the knitters like me who would like to enjoy the project and not have so much headache about the construction. And when I'm looking at this finished sweater, I notice all of the details, the perfect back neckline shaping, beautiful short rows, very nice front and the back that don't dismatch, the front is not shorter than the back. There is place for the chest, there is no extra fabric in the back, and all of the problems that I find in the top-down construction that is very simple and easy, for us to knit very quick. They're not here. So you start at the bottom and then you knit in the round up to the armholes. After that you spread. You first knit the front flat and then you knit the back flat. When you knit flat and you're reaching to the top, you're doing some shoulder slope shaping, just back and forth, some of the short rows, and also you're shaping the neckline. When you're done, you're connecting both the front and the back together with a 3-needle bind-off technique. And after that, you knit in the sleeves bottom up and you're seaming up together towards the fabric. I'm really looking forward to try it one day because it's something new and it sits so perfectly and it's going to challenge my skills. Also, when we have a strong seam here at the shoulders, the fabric is going to be more strong and it's going to be more durable in our wardrobe, which is also a plus as for me. All right, look at this next one. I have to hold my emotions because if I'm going to be too excited, it's going to be too much. I don't know what's wrong with this cardigan, but it's just attracting me so much. This is Darja Cardigan by LAMANA. LAMANA is a yarn company, which is a German company that produces very high quality yarns that I'm really looking forward to try very soon. A lot of times I'm looking at their designs and I'm thinking, oh, I want to knit this one. This one is for my husband. They have a lot of beautiful colorwork sweaters. And of course, I'm a fan of LAMANA yarns and it would be easy to make a choice of which yarn to use. So this time they released Darja Cardigan and I love everything about it. So there is a very beautiful braid that goes all the way along the bottom band, but also it's going all the way along the arm and continues into the body. And very, of course, deep and nice raglan lines. It looks so minimalistic. so elegant, and I don't know, there's something interesting about it. How can you make me so excited with only one single braid? I don't know, if not the braid, I don't think I would be so excited about it. Anyways, I would need this for sure. And while I'm speaking about it, I'm thinking, should I be casting on this week? The yarn is, of course, LAMANA Como, which is a 100% merino, and it's a super light yarn. So by 25 grams, you have 120 meters. Let me check. Yes, 120 meters per 25 grams. And you're going to have a very lightweight garment that is perfect for transition season like right now. It could be also end of spring. But if I were to knit this, I would also add a very, very thin strand of mohair. It could be LAMANA Premia from them as well. It's quite thin, or it could be Ito Sensai, one of the softest mohairs that I've tried. And it's also quite thin. So just to make it a bit warmer and a bit more, I don't know, luxurious or comfortable or cozy. So I just love mohair. I would add it anywhere. Just to not mess up the gauge, I wouldn't go for traditional meterage. I would just go for something way thinner. And the way we knit it is also quite interesting. You're starting with a provisional cast on and the middle of the braid here at the back, and you're knitting to both directions. And after you're knitting some sort of, you know, line at the back, you're then casting on or adding stitches for the body, for the raglans, and this braid continues all the way along your button band. And so you keep on knitting back and forth, already increasing for the front v-neck line and for the raglans together, and then everything as we usually do. We just split for sleeves here, we keep on knitting flat to desired length, and we then pick up stitches here and finish in the sleeves the way we want. So I'm really looking forward to knit it one day, and I'm actually quite surprised that the yarn brand created a design that excited me so much. Are you ready for the next one? Is Socks by Syysköynnös by Heinikki Design, a Finnish designer that created these gorgeous autumn socks. I'm losing my breath. To be honest, I'm not that always excited about patterns, but I don't know what's going on right now. Anyways, look at these socks. Look at these beautiful leaves that are randomly placed in the color word motif. I hope you feel what I feel right now. Super cozy, outdoor mood, going hiking in nature in autumn in this beautiful orange and yellow leaves, just going out for a walk in the park and, you know, observing the beauty on your feet if we have time to knit it as soon as possible. But I think if we start right now, we can actually reach the time when the leaves are going to be super yellow and actually falling. Right now it's still green here in the north of Spain. So before I speak about the yarn, I also want to pay your attention to how differently the leaves are colored. So we kind of have lines of different colors of the leaves, and we also have two samples of knitted socks, and I like both of them. The darker version of a wine color combined with the orange, and also the lighter version, the traditional autumn colors are also there. Both of them want me to go to my kitchen and pick up very hot drink and just start knitting on them, and I'm just really holding myself to not go in the local yarn shop and to not buy yarn for this project, because I already set my knitting plans and I have the yarn for them. If you want to know about my knitting plans, you can check out my recent video, the last one on my channel, where I speak about my autumn knitting plans. So let's go to the yarn. The yarn is Filcolana Arvada, which is quite a famous sock yarn. I did have a chance to try it very recently in one of the yarn shops. It is extremely soft, and now I understand why people knit sweaters, hats, scarves with this, mittens, because it's very soft, it's very durable, and it's quite affordable. Overall, Filcolana is amazing doing what they're doing. Very nice prices, very high quality, very beautiful color palette. So I wouldn't change a thing about it. I would go with that yarn. So there is no explanation about how the construction is, but I can guess that it's knitted top down, cuff down, and it features very standard heel flap and gusset construction. And I also like that it uses slip stitch on the heel, and not only on the back of the heel, but also when the heel is turning already to the foot, which is also increasing durability on the sock. And if I ever would use these socks for walking, of course, this is very important. They mentioned needles are 2.5mm needles, and the sizes available are 38 and 39 European sizes. I'm 37, but I would be perfect with 38, and that's fine. So gorgeous, gorgeous socks that create so much spark in my soul, and I hope I can knit it one day as well. Now we have only sweater and mittens left. Let's go with the sweater. It's a Ciro Sweater by MorecaKnit. And this is a drop shoulder construction that is very similar to actually what I'm wearing. What I'm wearing is a Petite by Petite, and visually it looks very similar to me. It's just that in Ciro Sweater here we have a very interesting drop shoulder, and that is actually a feature of most of the MorecaKnit design. Yekaterina really likes to use this type of shoulder that is, as I already said in one of the previous sweater, in between. It's not too dropped and it's not here at the top. And I actually prefer that because I don't also like very fitted sweaters, and I don't like too oversized sweaters, so I cannot fit them in my coat. And it is different from most of the drop shoulder constructions that have this increased line at the back, and I'll tell later in the construction section why it is so. Right now, let's just take a look at the design itself and see what type of style it is. This is a very elegant transition piece. Transition because we have these openings here at the arms and in the hem. And of course, when it's too cold, we cannot wear it. But I think it's very perfect when the weather is complicated, when it's not too hot and not too cold. And in the mornings and in the evenings, it gets quite cold. So we're quite warm here at the neck, and we're already ventilating the air through our body and arms through these openings. Very smart design, very wearable. I like the combination of a challenge for the knitter because of the construction, I'll speak later, and also wearability. So while you put a lot of effort in this sweater and you learn some new skills, you're going to also enjoy the actual wear because it's very basic, very suitable for any type of occasion, and could be worn with a sports style or with elegant style trousers or skirts or whatever you're wearing here in the bottom. Let's go with the yarn. The yarn recommended is LAMANA Como and LAMANA Premia. We're speaking a lot today about LAMANA, but it makes sense because it's a really cool yarn. LAMANA Como is a DK weight yarn that is mentioned by manufacturer, but knitters say that is a sport weight yarn, and some other knitters actually say that is a fingering weight yarn. I saw LAMANA in the yarn shop. I think it's a true fingering weight yarn. I don't know what's up with this. Maybe because it blooms, like if you have a lot of open gauge, it will fill up the space somehow. But for me, it's either sport weight or true fingering weight yarn. So this is the first strand, and the second strand is LAMANA Premia, which is a very thin mohair. I think it has 300 meters per 25 grams. And in combination, you achieve a very lightweight garment with very luxurious feel because LAMANA Premia is a really soft mohair. And another alternative that is actually recommended by a designer, and she knitted a second sample of a light color in that recommended yarn, is Filcolana Prunilla held together with Filcolana Tilia, which is a way more affordable option. And Filcolana Prunilla is already quite a thicker yarn. I saw it also in real life, and it is a true sport weight yarn. So you can even see the difference in the fabric, that the brown sweater that is knitted in LAMANA is a bit thinner than a cream sweater. So you decide what you want. If it's an everyday sweater for everyday wear, maybe it doesn't make sense to go with such expensive merino and go for Peruvian wool from Filcolana. Both yarns are beautiful, and I saw the finished work of Filcolana Prunilla. My friend have knitted a cardigan, and it just feels and looks beautiful, and it wears out very nicely. It's a 21 stitch gauge per 10 centimeters. And now let's speak about the construction finally. So the construction is something that makes this sweater so different from other drop shoulder constructions. Visually, it looks like most of the sweater that we see online. It has the increased line here at the back, you know, the trapezoid shape and round neckline, and like nothing special. But it is special. You start at the back yoke with a provisional cast on somewhere in the bottom of your shoulder blades or your underarms. Then you knit bottom up and you start making decreases to form these beautiful lines at the back of the sweater. When you're done, you're picking up stitches for the right shoulder, knitting front, already making decreases for shaping of the arm, and you're making increases to shape the neckline. You're doing the same for the left side, and then you're joined here at the front and knitting flat to the underarms. Then you're connecting everything with a provisional cast on, and you're knitting in the round to desired length, and then you're splitting for the front, knitting hem back and forth, and you're doing the same for the back. When you're done with the body, you start to pick up stitches around the armhole, and then you're forming a very beautiful sleeve cap with short rows going back and forth, and then you're knitting in the round until you actually have to split for knitting flat to create these very beautiful openings here and the hands. So when everything is done, you're picking up stitches here at the collar, and you're folding over the collar to create this very cozy and thick feeling. I have the folded neck here, and I really like how it feels. Very beautiful design. minimalistic but complicated. Challenges our mind because, to be honest, I'm quite bored of the same constructions over and over again, and I was hungry for something new and interesting from a trusted designer that I would be just, free to cast on, and I wouldn't doubt if I will have a nice end product. I knitted already from MorecaKnit Calista Sweater, and I am looking forward to knit so many more designs from her. Really smart designer, really worth checking out if you don't know her yet. And the last pattern is Mittens, Falun Mittens by Sara Klint, a Swedish designer that actually published this pattern for free for us to enjoy. Honestly, I feel weird to knit free designs because I know it was a lot of effort to create it, especially if it's a personal design, like just a woman that creates nice things for us to enjoy for free. I always try to support them and share their patterns on social media or purchase their other designs that I paid, because I know it's a lot of effort, and I would like to be grateful when I'm using their designs. Anyways, look at these beautiful, gorgeous mittens. The first impression that I get from it is minimalistic autumn. This is what I felt, because we have very interesting orangey drops that have different size and that are placed in a squared pattern. And obviously the coloring of the mittens makes me feel of autumn. They're really warm because they're knitted of a worsted weight, and they will be beautiful in all of the different colorways. Like in winter, it would be really nice with white and blue colors, or white and red to transmit the Christmas feeling. So you can knit this pattern again and again in different yarn combinations, and it will always come up in a different way. I already downloaded the pattern and I saw that it's a two-stranded color work. That means they're even warmer because it's a worsted weight and you have always two strands going on. So very nice for winter and for autumn as well if you live in a cold climate. Also, I like that it's color work, but it's not screaming color work that takes all of the attention from your look. And depending on the colors that you choose, they can easily build up into your look without, taking so much attention. The yarn that is used in this pattern is Swedish and it's a worsted weight yarn. And I don't know if I have an access to this, I didn't research, but I would probably replace it with Felkulana Peruvian if I would go for a budget-friendly option. Or I would go with 100% Baby Yak that I'm actually knitting a neck warmer right now with. Is Baby Yak from Yak Fibers, medium. So it's also worsted weight and they have very gorgeous colors as well to choose from. Baby Yak is extremely warm, so the mittens are going to be hot on your hands if you choose that yarn. You're knitting them bottom up with the most simple thumb construction, and at the top we're having a very beautiful gradual decrease rates that are all over the mitten. So not from the two sides, just like the traditional mittens that we see online, but a more rounded shape, which is very interesting, and I would like to try this type of construction. So we got everything in this roundup for the mittens, the socks, just we don't have hats and shawls, but I couldn't find something that would excite me and that was released this month, so this is what we have right now. So I'm really happy with this selection, and I'm so excited. Whenever I'm speaking about this on camera, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just looking at the patterns in a different way, and I'm falling in love with knitting again and again, especially when it's cold weather and it's time for cozy sweaters and hot drinks. And speaking about all of this stuff on YouTube, I was missing all of you because in summer there was not so many people watching the videos, people were on vacation, it was hot, it was a different atmosphere. Right now we're all here knitting again together, and I'm so grateful for you to be here. I'm really excited to hear and see what you're knitting on right now. What is your most exciting project on the needles? Share with me whatever you're feeling like, and share which pattern you're excited to cast on from this list, if you are. Thank you very much again for watching and being here, and I'm hoping to see you soon in my next video.